So yeah, so obviously, like we already mentioned, it is kind of one of them cases of if you just position right, Nautilus is pretty terrible. Um, I mean, he's only really good in situations where you need point and click CC, things like Lilia, stuff like that. But so the first thing, obviously, like we were already discussing, is don't really worry too much about these kind of concepts. All you really need to know how to do as a support in this elo is harass the lane and know when to leave the lane. So these are kind of things that we'll focus on primarily because, honestly, ADC right now is, in my opinion, in a terrible position. Like, terrible. That's why the only ADCs that you see that are of kind of really big use are things like the Ashe and things like MF and Ezreal, stuff like that. Things that are more kind of utility focused or have a lot of self-peel. So you do get things like Lucian, but the problem with this, so what also do you need to be taken into consideration when it comes to this laning phase? Do you need to... At what point do you need to win this game? If we're just talking your lane.
I think in the long run, don't we just scale better?
Yeah, like massively. Like, you have a Nasus, you have an Ashe, even an Echo, that's fine. Like, Akshan, even if he ints, he's still going to revive people. So it's like, at this point in this game, like, you're not really... You're not under any stress or time constraint, where, I mean, they've got a Lucian, they've got a Mordekaiser. Like, these are all champions that are going to get completely cancelled out later on into the game. As soon as, say, Ashe has a QSS and Nasus has plenty of stacks, so you're not really under a rush. Now, one of the first things, though, is this isn't too bad. Like, you are walking up past these minions, but here, so see how we're staying by the minion line? So this is kind of bad, because right now, we've just seen Nautilus take control of this brush. Now, this brush is a massive, like, focal point of laning phase, and if, say, for example, you were playing into... another enchanter, it'd be a case of who can get in this brush first, whereas you're playing against an Nautilus who will have hook, so this kind of off limits to you, but that means you have to kind of play around it. Like, right now, what can happen is Lucian can potentially queue both of these minions away, and then Nautilus just engages on you, and you're dead here, Right. So what you need to be doing is you need to be going, okay, there's not many minions here. I don't really want to go for too much harass. We've already kind of won the early trade. So what we need to do is just go to this wave, just kind of wait for it to come, sit behind it, and then just play around that.
Right.
So it's kind of like you're not just thinking about what could happen in this moment. You also think of, okay, so what should they be doing with their champion? And this kind of one of the things with supports, it's... support is a little less mechanically intensive, and you're not obligated to do as much. You don't have as much responsibility as other roles in the game. Junglers for objectives, like laners for CSing, like you don't really have that. You're just trade, poke, keep your ADC alive, play around that basically. So yeah, so this, is okay. I mean, they're going to get level 2 first anyway, because we haven't really put anything in the wave earlier. That was a nice lollipop by the Nautilus. Not that he meant to do it, but it leaves us in a little bit of a rough position. So now we can...
I was confident that I could dodge that there.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, even if we were confident, we probably should have got back to the wave anyway, but... like dodging show... Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, I think the level 2 kind of snuck up on us.
A little bit. So... Yeah. So how many minions is it in bot lane for level 2?
It's the second wave, the 3 melees.
Yeah, so it's 9 minions for level 2. So as soon as you got the 9, it's only 7 in a solo lane because you get 20% less XP. But
right.
So here, this is okay. I mean, we are out of range of that Nautilus hook. It's a little bit risky being in this area, just because this area is like, this is where you kind of want to avoid a lot of the time, because this little kind of gap here is very, very narrow, right? So it's very easy to throw skill shots and everything through here. So this kind of, when you're an enchanter that's squishy, you kind of want to avoid this area and stick kind of around this area instead,
Okay, gotcha.
just because there's more space to dodge, and, it's easier. The minions also, like, traverse through here too, so it makes it a lot easier. So now we do have bubble. We're leveling up with control, which is good. So Ashe is just hard forcing this. I mean, so even here, like our positioning around here, like we probably shouldn't be in this open area, especially when we don't have vision of the Nautilus here. So again, we could just kind of sit around here. And so this is another thing. So if I was to say tethering, do you know what that concept is, or?
Vaguely, but I might need like, an
Okay, no
explanation.
problem. So tethering is something that a lot of supports don't really get because it's more applicable to lanes, but it's kind of where you stay outside the maximum range of influence of the laners that you're playing against. Now, when you're playing bot lane, you want to stay out of the influence of the support, so you want to always be tethering them. So what you do is, say for example in this position, he's just walked down like this, and you've also walked down. So what you're doing is you're kind of closing the gap between him and you, which you don't want to be doing that. You want to be
Right.
kind of dancing with the Nautilus to stay as far away from him as possible. So instead of going down with him, he goes down, you go up. That way you're constantly out of range of what he can do, and as long as his minions don't die, you're good, right? So it's kind of like tethering is just being in this kind of dance where you're just kind of staying out of range of them, and that's how you can harass the ADC, because right now you could be here walking up harassing this Lucian a bit and then just dropping back to these minions so you can't get hooked, right? So
Right.
it's kind of a case of where you walk and how you can influence the lane based on where you're walking. Like, yeah, he threw a hook there. I mean, if he was better, that would have landed on you.
Hmm.
So, okay, Bubble. Ooh, flash was a little bit risky. So, why do you think the flash here is a little bit grief?
Yeah. So I thought the flash ignite would be enough. Because I knew they had a heal, so I thought
Mhm.
if I could get the ignite off before the heal, we'd be able to do enough damage to kill him. But I was definitely a little bit off.
Uh-huh. The other thing is as well is in these situations now one of the advantages to Nami in your lane as well, and this is kind of a concept that I go on about a lot, is what do you think are the three kind of styles of champion in the game?
Uh, in the support role or like in general.
I mean in general, it applies to
Like
every role.
yeah, there's like big damage champions. There's
So it's so
engage.
okay. So engage is kind of one of them. So their class is all-in champions.
Yeah.
So that's one style. It's more about how they get their damage off rather than how much damage they do. So we've got all in.
Champions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, poke. Let's go, River. Yeah, so poke as well. And then there's one more. This is what Nami is.
Uh, is enchanter like the worst?
I mean, I'll give you. It's sustain.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this also applies to champions like Graves that just heal up massively. But yeah, so in this kind of situation, obviously poke will naturally be all in because you poke them out and then they can't all in you because they've got no HP. All in will beat sustain. A lot of the times, to be honest, because if they manage to get an all in on you, you're just slapped. You know, like they just do too much damage, and you don't have the cooldowns. And then obviously sustain does beat poke. Now they are a very all in lane, so it means it's very very risky for you. But if they don't manage to kill you with that all in, like this Lucian right now can't kill you, so what you can do is now you can drop back, you can sustain back up with your heals, and then you can go back in later. You know. So it's kind of like you play the lane much slower as an enchanter than you would an all-in champion. Because he has to get something done. Otherwise, you just win, you know?
Hmm.
So the Ashe
Uh,
is running him. Yeah.
how important is my spell thief stacking early on with this?
Into this lane, it's not as important. Because
Okay.
it's a very, very dangerous lane.
Yep.
What the... Oh, my... Sorry, I've got adverts mid lo-fi video. Like, what on earth is this? Like, what's going on? YouTube's just trying to rinse me for money or something, I swear.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So, yeah, in this lane you have to play way more safe. You want to basically get stacks whenever you get the opportunity to, but if you're going to die to get those stacks, then it's really bad, right?
Right.
Now, one of the reasons we also brought up the flash earlier is because when you're playing into a lane like this where you're not forced to do anything, if you just chunk him out, you're already reducing the amount of time he can do things, right? Because he's not going to get healed up, so you're just going to have pressure over the lane. So flashing to try and get him is kind of, you're kind of trying to rush the game when you don't need to. Like if you're playing Leona, okay, maybe if you can get the kill, but when you're playing something like Nami into this lane, you don't need to. So just
Okay.
being careful of what you're kind of doing, especially here as well.
Yeah.
We didn't have any vision, and we're just kind of chasing them down. Like they're still going to pop you, like...
Yeah. I didn't know that the hook still went through if I landed the bubble.
Yeah. So this is another thing that you do on a lot of engaged champions, things like Leona, Thresh, stuff like that. Is if, say, for example, they're here, and you're, say, Thresh here, and you're running up, and you see, okay, I'm 100% about to get hit by this Nami bubble. What you do is, before the bubble lands, you just throw your hook out anyway, just in case you hit it. Because it's like, you're going to get CC'd anyway, but if that hook's already thrown, then it doesn't matter. So this applies to any kind of hook champs, Nautilus, Thresh, Pike. It all kind of applies the same. But, I mean, it's not too bad. What I probably would have done here is maybe look to go with the Dark Seal. I think Dark Seal on supports is very, very good. Very, very good. I think the people that watch me on Skill Cap probably hate me for it, but I always recommend Dark Seal. It's just free gold. Like, it gives you roughly 1,000 gold for free at 10 stacks. So it's like, if you just don't die, you've got 1,000 gold for free, which when you're playing a support that does quite a lot of damage, then, you know, it's pretty good. And Nami, you know, like, the more AP you get, the more bounces you get on your W, stuff like that. So, you know, it ends up really, really good. One thing you can do here as well is in this position, we need to ward this, right? But we can't get in the river, right? So how do you think we can do it?
Yeah, we'd have to go up, like above the...
Nope.
Like the trees right there, probably?
Nuh-uh. Nope.
No? Like not the high ground?
Nope. So what you can do is if you stand here, and go and practice till and try it. If you stand by there and you ward this little section just above where the waterfall drops, what will happen is your ward will appear here.
Oh.
So go into practice tool and try this, but what that allows you to do is you can ward the river even from here. Now there is also a spot vice versa, so where the wall kind of dips in, if you stand in that dip, there's when we see it, I'll show you. There's like a little spot by Tribush, and there's like a little rock. If you actually ward that as well, you'll be able to ward Tribush from the river.
Wow, I didn't know it could go that far.
Yeah, it's really, really. It'll look like it won't go there, but it just will. It'll get extended because the terrain pushes it forward. So this is okay now. So you didn't really need to layer any of these, to be honest. So the only one you needed to layer really is this one back here. So what you do is for every caster, you just hit him with one auto until the Ashe has 20 AD. When the ADC has 20 AD or more, they'll be able to last hit it without your influence. Because it'll only take one tower shot and then an auto. So if we just focus on them, then, you know, ADCs will love us, and we'll do well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see a spicy little fight goes down, I guess. So here, obviously, this is the power of Nautilus. So this was a little bit slow, just a tad. So one thing you have to do as well is kind of realize, okay, so what's he doing? Now, what is an indicator that you have to determine what the enemies are doing or where they've clicked?
Well, you can kind of look at where your champion is, or
Okay.
where your allied champion is getting hooked.
Okay. So
And also, there's kind of like a wind up in the same direction.
a little. So one of the main things that you always want to look out for is the face of the champion. So the face is very, very important because wherever their face is, that's where they've clicked. So right here, you're looking up here because you've clicked here. Ashe has clicked here. She's walking there. Nautilus is basically clicked directly on her because that's where he's looking. Lucian, again, clicked directly on top of her. So what you can do is you can go, okay, well, where have they clicked? And if you can determine where they've clicked, you can kind of determine what they're going to do. So they're literally both running at her right now.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to go, okay, and you want to have your Q ready pretty much on top of her. And then as soon as you see his hook, you want to instantly throw your bubble because it's going to work as two ways, right? So A, you're going to knock him up, and B, you're also going to bubble her, which is going to give her movement speed from your passive. So you kind of get two in one, and that's going to allow her to maybe get out. So see here, we prioritize getting the WE first, and then the bubble, where it's like, you know, it's not as effective.
Right.
One thing we could have also done, another thing we could have done here actually, which would have been even better, is when the Nautilus throws his hook, we want to bubble here.
Oh Oh, to hit the Lucian?
Yeah, to just stop the Lucian going in. So it's like when their support targets your ADC, you try and target theirs. And then by doing that, Nautilus is still going to do some damage to her, but, she's going to maybe come out with about half HP because the Lucian can't actually get in. He maybe steps back, but... or he's forward, that's also a potential. But we can also bubble him while he's eating too. So here we go, and I guess we go to get ward down. We could have also put a pink in this brush while we were walking up. And that would have also helped.
Right.
So, again, you kind of want to always avoid, as Nami, throwing like raw bubbles. Because they're very difficult to land when they're not slowed. So what you want to do instead is use your E on yourself, walk up, get an auto attack, and then get the bubble while it's slowed.
Right.
It just makes it way, way easier. Now we can see the Echo is trying to come in. I think he should just get the wave and that's it. Actually, I mean, Ashe is nearly here.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of bait them into going in on me so Echo could come in.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they just didn't want to. Fair enough. So, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, Lucian's only got 11 CS up right now. Like, that's really not that bad. So, he jumps in here. Actually, he saves his E for your bubble, which is actually okay. So, now his E's gone. Means he's got no gap closer. So... okay. So right now, I mean, again, it's a little bit slower, but it doesn't really matter too much. Action does actually come to potentially get some in. The movement speed is huge. Oh, that was painful. Damn, that's a shame.
Yep.
If he would have actually got that, then he would have actually killed them both because he would have got E reset.
Yeah.
But okay. Is this okay, moving with your jungler? So, obviously a little bit of kind of questions. So, when do you think is the best time to roam based on wave state?
When our wave is crashing into their tower, I think it's a good time to roam.
It's not bad. Okay, so that's one that's okay. When's an even better time?
If it's also frozen near our tower, I could probably roam because our ADC
Okay.
can take it.
Yeah, that's another one. There's another one, especially as well.
I'm not sure what the third one is.
Okay, so the third one is when they have a slow push. Because what you can do is, obviously they're going to build up quite a big wave, but if the wave is pulling into us, so obviously pushing is when it's going to them, pulling is when it's coming to us. If the wave is pulling into us, and then that's an okay time to roam, because if our ADC, has a clue what they're doing, which they should a little bit in Platinum. Yeah, I mean, with a pinch of salt, I guess. What ends up happening is they'll just sit back and wait for the wave to pull in. And then they'll just claim it under the tower. So it's also another time where you can just roam off, because honestly, you want to always be looking for times to roam. Especially ADC is in the state it is right now. It's just kind of bad. And I mean, Ashe can farm alone as well. She can farm 1v2 kind of easy. So
yeah.
So this is okay, but another thing that you can do here is you can roam out of base through kind of the jungle too. Because right now we're going to get there way before her. So what we can do as well is kind of roam through as well, see if I mean, we don't have any wards yet, so maybe not as good, but we could have been maybe around for this Viego fight or the Corki's wave pulling in. And then the Ashe just farms this alone, right? And it doesn't really matter too much. Now, Nautilus ult at Q is down here, sorry. So, I mean, it probably won't matter by the time Ashe has cleared this off. Okay, so now she's just going to hard push the wave. That makes perfect sense, obviously. So what we're looking for now is we're just looking for Nautilus to throw his hook out. We know Viego's in topside, so you know we can potentially do something. Okay. So here you want to instantly use your ultimate. So one of the problems here is we're not chaining a CC as easily. So if you instantly ult there, as soon as you see the hook come out, because right here, like look how the Nautilus is playing, right? So this is another thing with support. You have to be able to kind of see what the enemy support is trying to do. Like you have to predict what they're going to do. So right here, he's just looking for a hook. He's just looking to go in because he's level 6. So what you want to be doing is you want to be like, okay, well, you know, he's going to try. As soon as he throws this hook, you instantly ult. And then that'll mean that he can't actually get in range to actually hit her, right? Because you'll ult and it'll knock him up like here, so he can't even walk in range. Obviously, he'll still get his aftershock because he's landed his Q, but you'll stop him really doing anything. And then what you can do is you can chain your Q off your ult. Right. So you always want to kind of look to chain your abilities together as much as possible. Right. Because you did chain them, but it just wasn't instant enough, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they actually look to dive you. I mean, that makes sense. There's a huge wave.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of stay in XP range of the wave, but...
So the thing is, as support, you also kind of want to kind of ignore XP a little bit. Purely because, I mean, you're level 6 already, you've got your boots. As a support, honestly, roaming is usually just key. So you're going to be down on XP most of the time anyway. Enchanter's not as much. When you play engaged supports, you basically want to just roam permanently. Like there'll be games in, like, for example, Challenger, where like Alistairs and Leonas and Nautilus, like they run around so much that they won't even have their mythic finish by the end of the game. Right. Like, and so this is also why you don't see really broken items, like for example Wardstone, being picked up as much or on kind of stat sites, because at the higher levels of play you don't really get to level 13. It's too high, you know. So right here again, another walk through mid. So walking through bot right here, they're going to reset anyway, right? So walking straight bot, you know, it's not really going to achieve much. Whereas, what do you think's happening with this wave based on the map?
I think that's pushing into us or pulling in, right?
Yep, so that's pulling into you. So that is an opportunity. So what we need to be doing is when we're in base, we need to go, oh, this is an opportunity. Because, you know, we can actually go to this. Even though it's a Corki, you know, he still might make a mistake. So what we should be looking to do is go through here and roam down like here. We can even, I mean, we have got a control ward here that's been there a while. But, you know, if, say, let's pretend this wasn't here, we could sweep all this area out, get rid of any vision, get our control ward here maybe, and then help mid lane, you know? So it's kind of like we always want to be looking for these roams. Even if you roam into top lane, as Nami, it's even easier. Because your E, you know, it's only 55 mana right now, not too much. And you can use it to move about. So this is also something that you're not doing as well. You do it out of base, but you can do it walking towards lane as well. Like here, you could just E yourself, and you'll get there quicker. Like, it's not going to really mean too much, and you get a lot of mana regen out of your support item anyways, so... So you, as a support, you want to avoid this ward spot too, because it's way too easy to get rid of. We know that they're not here because they went in base. So what you want to do is, instead of putting it here, walk up a little bit more, or you can walk around here like this, and just put it here. Just so that it's not in this range where it'll get caught by the tribush, right? And then what you can also do is when you're in lane, once you get the push pressure, you can put another ward here, which will also avoid it. And then we see them if they come this way. We see them, you know, we cover all angles without getting caught by this tribush pink, which will always come down, especially in plat. Like, supports don't usually know how to ward kind of in different spaces. They'll always just put the same one down. So the control ward will be in here permanently. Yeah. Or the ADCs, to be honest. Yeah. So this, again, okay. Why do you think this roam is okay based on what we've already discussed?
Yeah, I felt like Ashe was pretty safe, and I tried to ping her back here because I know
I'm not
there. Because the wave crashed into the tower,
Uh-huh.
In my mind, it's just gonna like reset, come back to us. So
Yeah, so it's going to pull back to you, which means,
yeah,
again, yeah, Ash is completely safe to farm.
I think she might die anyway, but you know,
I mean, if she does, she does.
yeah.
Like, she's a supportive AD anyway, so... Okay, wave was a little bit off.
Yep.
Uh, okay, so ult was a little bit grief.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. I'm really inconsistent. Like sometimes I make really really good plays, and other times I'm just like, what am I even doing?
I mean, the thing is, sometimes you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Like, you don't need to land good plays. Like, good plays in Platinum is basically peeling the shit out of your ADC and stopping dying, you know? Like, you don't need to go for, like, big flashy plays, stuff like that. It's like the Lee syndrome, right? Like, yeah, okay, you can make big flashy plays. Doesn't mean you should. No,
Right.
no. Like, most of the players that make those big flashy plays that you see on YouTube, they're usually hard stuck in, like, Diamond. Because they're just looking for flashy plays permanently, and they never learn the game. So it's like, you know. So this was okay. I mean, so here we don't really need to let him come through, right? Because even if he focuses us here, Akshan's about to come and one-pop him.
Yeah.
So one of the problems here is actually our positioning. So instead of walking back here, just position to stop him kind of walking through. Just keep on top of him, and then you just bubble. You can also just stop Ash from dying, because if he hooks you, it's not anywhere near as bad, right? Because you can bubble on top of yourself, run away, and then Akshan kills.
Right.
So don't be too scared when you got reinforcements coming. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this was a little bit issue with our positioning. So right here, we were playing this well. And then we just kind of went way too far forward. So here, this is okay. This is okay. Good, good, good. Okay, even better. Like, and now right here, your autos aren't really going to do anything to this guy.
I should back up.
Yeah. So just stay back and just, like, space away from them. Obviously, he does flash, but we do get a nice bubble. Unfortunately, we can't survive long enough. I mean, to be fair, if we were spamming W, we would have got a heal off, but I think we still die.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I was like mid animation right there. I don't know what happened there.
So, I mean, he died, like, we'll take it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my, YouTube is just killing me. Like, an ad every 10 seconds. Right, so...
Yeah, I think I remember. I think I remember liking this game because I think the first half didn't go super well, but I think the second half.
Yeah,
Is
so
better.
why do you think the second half went so well?
So I think part of it is like you saw, I make a lot of weird mistakes in the early
Okay.
game, I think.
Yeah?
And then I feel like in later fights, I just like feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know.
Uh-huh, but it's, I mean, I also think in this game it's based on comp too.
That too, yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
yeah, like later on in this game, we don't need to do anything really. Like, if we keep Nasus alive, then we win. Is this good though that you're roaming about? Again though, just make sure to use ease as you're roaming. Just because we're sat now on full mana, we're not really using any of it. So it's like, even right now, we're at full mana again. You know, we could just E to get places quicker. Or just E the action, you know. Well, you did, but a little bit lower. Bit slower, I mean. So we did get a little bit greedy with our ult there. Just a little bit. Like, your ult is like 80-second cooldown. Like, it doesn't really matter too much if you just use it instantly. So right here, E the action, just bubble into ult straight away. Just straight away.
Okay.
Like, just chain CC them for as long as you can. And you'll just get the kill. And then again, like, don't worry too much about using your ultimate in these kind of early moments of the game. Because it's like, okay, we're at 15 minutes, you know, it's a little bit like mid-game-ish. I class this as basically the start of mid game. So it's like we've only just got out of early game. If we can just get a few early kills, then that's great. You know, like we just play around our ultimate being up rather than holding on to it. Like, because like okay, we've got to wait 70 seconds, but we'll have it back again. We'll just make a play then. So action's huge. So at this point, what you do as an enchanter support is you just kind of latch on to whoever's the strongest, and you just play around that. Oof, calculated.
Absolutely, 100%.
100%. I agree. Like I could tell you knew exactly how much HP you
I was
had.
doing the math,
100%.
I was crunching the numbers.
Yeah. Calculator in one hand, mouse in the other.
Yeah. Got my Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, just everything. Right. So we've got a big spike now. So which really good for us. So now we just play around, just roaming. Like honestly, like we just never go back to the Ash ever again. Like she's done with now. Oh. So I mean we didn't really need to ward that because it's like, well, are we gonna look to go over there? Probably not. We've got his flash. Like, plus the wards at this point of the game are kind of crucial because there's another dragon coming up soon. So it's like we want them wards in the bottom side of the map rather than the top. Luckily they didn't keep going, otherwise they would have died. Well, lucky for them anyway. Okay. So not bad. I mean we take it. Now what do you think I'm gonna mention here about your build? Something we've already spoke about. When was the last time you died?
Yeah, the Dark Seal would have been really nice.
Yeah, like I think the fact that this mid game period you're not dying much is a really really good sign. But we're also not abusing solo queue as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like in comp, maybe you wouldn't do it as much because you need a lot of slots, but in solo queue, you're playing for yourself at the end of the day. So we get dragon. So if Baron was up, we could have just reset without helping on the dragon and gone elsewhere, but... Okay, so Nautilus engaged. Interesting. Okay. What do you think was one of the big things here?
Definitely, I should have just bubbled when I had the guaranteed bubble with
Who should you have bubbled?
Hold on, let me watch this again.
Yeah, no problem.
I think bubbling the Lucian there would have been really nice.
Yeah, it would have been way, way better. Like a bubble on Lucian there is pretty nice. Also, I think this game as well, you could have also gone Ardents too. Just because it's going to help the... it's like, who are we building anti-heal against, right? Like, I mean, I guess Maud heals a bit in his W. I guess Viego kind of does if he resets, but Viego can't really play into Nami because you've got so much anti-engage, so...
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking about it. Like, you could kind of see I was in the shop, I was like going back and forth. I was like, I guess look at anti-heal sometimes.
Yeah, nah, so you didn't really need it. It didn't really do as much, and if you just get something like Ardents to just see who's popping off, and one of the things you can do as well is on your second item, you determine, okay, well, do they have substantial healing, yes or no? If no, do you have a fed AD auto attacker on your team? If yes, go Ardents. Or do you have a fed AP? If yes, go staff. So you just kind of evaluate these things. Do they have kind of like something like a Leona where we can go Mikaels or something like that? There's a lot of options, but I mean it's never going to harm getting Putrefier. It gives quite a lot of haste. It's kind of nice overall, but a little bit. So Nasus is just being a bit of a raid boss now.
Absolutely.
We did get a bubble on him. which did speed him up. Unfortunately, he did die. Ooh, that's kind of unfortunate. Oh, we did actually get it, though. Okay. I mean, this was pretty good, though. Viego does come, but he's way too late. Okay. Because at this point, you could even go Medjais as well, which another 10% movement speed on top. Yeah. Oh, very broken. Oh, yeah, we were kind of... oh, we did actually start going into it. Obviously, the only thing here now is that we're building multiple items, which means, you know, less of a mythic spike, which helps, but Nasus is just huge.
Yeah, kind of gross.
Yeah, he's kind of just running it.
Another great ult.
Yeah, I love it. I weren't going to go over it, but... I mean, it's fine. I mean, the thing is, like, sometimes I'll throw ults out just to kind of... see if I can land it, and if I don't, I'll just play around it being down. Like it's on like a 60-second cooldown or something at this point. Like it's not really too big, especially when you get like higher level 2. It becomes so much easier. Oh, so yeah, so this was another one of them examples where the hook still goes through. So here we don't.
I'm surprised at how it went through.
Yeah. If it's thrown, it'll go through. Because the thing is, the reason it works is because the ability is thrown as soon as you press the key. So if you're not CC'd when you press the key, it will go. Whereas if you are, obviously it won't. So it's kind of weird, but there's a lot of very strange instructions. But here as well, like, probably don't even need to be this far back, to be honest. Like, this is kind of a safer place to be, don't get me wrong, but we could have maybe chased that down a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Action is coming out base, so.
Yeah, it's a really fine line between, like, being aggressive enough.
Yeah.
Safe enough as a support.
So one of the big keys that you want to kind of think of with stuff like that is, have they used their CC yet? If the answer is yes, you can just be psychotic. Like, you can just kind of run up and kind of be a bit crazy. But if obviously they've got CC still available, you have to kind of sit back a little bit. Okay, so what do you think is one of the big issues in this fight?
Big issues as in a mistake?
Yeah, as in just with you. As in just with your screen, specifically, right now. What do you think is...
Yeah, my screen isn't, like, capturing the whole fight.
Yeah, so you're basically playing on locked cam. Your thumb is being used as like a crux, for just... because it's comfortable, right? So even though that might be comfortable, we also have to try and get you kind of out of that habit, because we're not actually viewing the fight. So the analogy that I like to use is, have you ever played chess before?
Yeah.
What do you move when you play chess? What do you move when you play chess?
Like the pieces?
Yeah. You wouldn't move the board, would you? Like, if you want to move like a pawn to the right, you wouldn't move the board to the left, right? So it's like, it's kind of the same in League. Your character is a piece, and you play around that, you know. So it's like right here, this area is where it's interesting. So it's like, if you just put your camera on it, even if you're not in that area yet, like this white box around your minimap is what you're seeing on your screen. Like so, that's basically where it is. So say, for example, if your screen is focused here and you're here, it doesn't matter, because you just know that you're going to come like this, right? So it's like, you know you're going to come, you can watch the whole thing, you can see, okay, Viego's just used his flash. Oh, I don't actually know, but for example, Viego just used his flash. That means we can focus on him and kill him. So yeah, we can kind of focus around that more. Also, I have no idea why, but YouTube has changed something. I don't have ad blocker on.
That'll do it.
Yep, I had to reinstall everything on my PC the other day, so... Right, so... Before YouTube rudely interrupted. So, right here, the Baron is a good call, so again, we go get Wardstone. So this is pretty good, that we're setting up preemptively. So again, you can also put wards on camps. So you could put, say, a ward here, and a ward maybe in this entrance here. Actually, no, it'd probably be in this brush. So one there, one here, and you're set up for Baron, like, entirely. So right now, this is very risky. Okay, so Ash did ping you off. Okay. Ooh. See how that was a little bit slow again.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't in range soon enough.
Oh, calculated though. No problem. No problem.
Yep.
So yeah, again, that's kind of another one of them situations where it's like evaluating what does the enemy want to do, and how can I play around that. Like Corky's coming in with package, it's like okay. Another thing as well is in that situation, use tab. Have luck who's TPing. So press tab. Mordekaiser's is in mid lane right now, so we can see him, and we don't know who else has TP, right? So it's like, oh, who is it? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we could have also ulted before he W'd too, so we could also open up without ult. So don't worry about opening it with Q all the time. You can open with ult, and that would have also knocked him out of his W.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize how much the package does.
Yeah, so that was the so yeah, that's the empowered package. Oh sorry, I guess there's only the package, but it's basically the empowered W. So I mean, you can go for this because Nasus is bot, so this is fine. One thing that you do want to do though with this is when you're starting Baron, and tank it for just a little bit at the start and then heal yourself back up. Because whoever's tanking the Baron does 50% less damage. Yeah, by 50%. So the Echo, who, you know, he is going to be doing a lot. There will be some situations where you tanking for a little bit at the start will actually allow you to get it significantly faster.
Right.
Obviously, you can't tank too much, but... Okay, now, the unfortunate thing is, because we've started building into 2 items right now, we can't pick up a wardstone. So a wardstone is something that you always want when you get to level 13. Because the amount of stats it gives is amazing. Especially when you're going into these items that give a lot of AP. Like, you've got quite a substantial amount of AP right now, and AP is the second most valuable resource in the game. So AD is the most at 35 gold per 1 AD, and AP is 21.75. So out of the basic resources, AP is very, very valuable. And what Wardstone does is it gives you 12.5% more AP. So it's just so much gold.
I didn't even know Wardstone was a thing.
Yep, this is the thing. Not many people do.
I've never seen this item before.
Vigilant Wardstone. Yeah. So it so it gets 15 ability haste, which is nice. 150 HP, nice as well. Again, it gives you, oh no, it's just 12%, not 12.5. 12% bonus AD, HP, ability power, and ability haste. So again, the ability haste and the AP for you, amazing. And then also another kind of neat thing about it is so it also allows you to put down 1 extra normal ward and control ward. So you can have 2 pinks down and 4 normal wards all at the same time.
Wow.
And on top of that, if you've got control wards here, it will just take this slot. It will just replace it with the wardstone, and your control wards get stored inside it, you know?
That's so overpowered.
It's broken. It's completely broken. But the problem is...
Why don't I see anyone ever do that?
Because all the stat sites that people try and use and all the like recommend people will watch high-elo players or pro play where they never ever get to level 13.
Right.
So they never get it, right? Like, because they're like, oh, this item doesn't even exist. Where it's unbelievably broken. It's probably the most underrated item in the game.
I literally just had to look it up because I didn't know what that
Yeah, it's crazy good. I actually love the item. Like, I'll sometimes get it at level 12 if I know that I'm going to be on the map for quite a while after, you know? Because then it'll just upgrade while I'm roaming or in a fight. And the thing is, well, it will upgrade in a fight too, so you'll instantly get those stats like mid-fight sometimes.
I see.
So, raid boss Nasus, let's go.
I tried to flash heal.
Yeah, unfortunately Mordekaiser did get his alternate. But, I mean, to be fair, the main threat you have this game is Viego stealing Nasus's body and killing you all, to be fair. But saying that, without ultimate, he doesn't do as much. So this is fine, we can chase down a bit more. Like, we don't need to be too scared, you know? The bubble was okay, but you want the... Yeah, you wanted to get the E on the action first.
Yeah.
Ooh, unlucky. Did your W go off on him there? Let me have a look.
I think...
So what you want to do here is you want to be spamming W. I think it went on the Ash.
It was on its way back, I think, but it didn't reach Echo in time.
Oh, you use it on the Corki.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in those situations, just spam that W on the Echo, just because he'll live, and it'll still bounce. You know, the damage will still apply, but just be a little bit slower. Okay, so now we just push this down. Okay. Okay. Action popping off. Yeah. That's why this champion was so useless on release, and then they just buffed his base stats so much, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, just rotate into mid early. Just so...
Action can take it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. I mean, to be fair, you're a Nami, so you just turn anybody into a tank.
Yeah, true.
So even at these stages of the game, you don't even need to really reset. Like, the pressure on the map is just so important. And then all you do is you just run it down.
Yep, I think that's pretty much it.
Again, Nasus is massive. Okay. So here we kind of leave the Ash out to dry a little bit. Yeah. So maybe going back and sort of helping it a little bit could have maybe been good, but I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, in my mind here, like, Nasus and Action are just like our conditions.
And the thing is, Action just brought it back to life anyway, so...
Yeah.
I'm surprised there were no QSSs bought, but that's one of the reasons why Mordekaiser obviously gets shut out massively late game is because, you know, QSS just completely shuts down everything that he wants to achieve, you know? So yeah, obviously this was a loss, so a win, sorry. So, you know, not as many kind of big obvious mistakes, but obviously quite a lot of smaller ones, stuff like that. So we'll leave that there. What I'll do is I'll stop the recording.